Hi, I'm Jennifer and welcome to 1,000 Women, 1,000 Ways. Our story today is from Joan. Now, Joan was born in Zambia and at 7 years old, her father remarried, and this is where her story starts. At age 13, Joan also realised that in order to have the future and the dreams that she had, she was going to have to change countries. So at 13, she realised what she needed to do. Hi Joan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jennifer.
It's an absolute privilege and pleasure. And may I say, I'm loving your hair. It is the most
Thank you.
awesome colour.
I love it too.
And very well styled.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, your story starts when you were 7 years old, when your mother was no longer around on the scene, and your father remarried.
Yes.
So how was that for you? What happened?
It was good when we arrived with my older sister, but then things started changing. You know, after about a week, 2 weeks, I was living with my dad and my stepmom and my stepbrothers. Yeah, so they had times we started, you know, very strict stepmother. You know, then we had days where every Wednesday became a Wednesday I did not like, because every Wednesday you get a good beating, you know, for doing something wrong or not even doing anything wrong. She will find a reason to actually, you know, give you a really good beating. So yeah, it wasn't easy.
And did your father intervene? Did he help you?
Well, he couldn't, because he didn't have much control, and I don't know how, you know, a man could not have control, but you know, I suppose she was more powerful than what he was. Yeah.
And what other things did you experience at the hands of your stepmother?
Well, as years went by, you know, and we lived with her more and more, and we lived with my dad more and more, my stepmom got worse. So we had, you know, I had days rather, as I started getting to my year 6, year 7, where if my dad has gone away on a business trip, you know, just know that week, you know, the week is away or 2 weeks is away, then you won't have any food at all, you know. So yeah, you learn to survive without having any food. But you know, I suppose I survived, lucky for being in Zambia. You know, you've got mango trees or guava trees, you know, that's where you can find your food. And you have to make sure when you're coming back from school, that's when you eat that. Because if you get home and my stepbrothers will find out you've been eating something, then they'll tell her, then you get a good hiding.
So you'd actually get beaten
for actually having something to eat. Yeah.
And would your stepmother cook for herself and her own
No,
children?
she'll actually make you cook. You know, I learned to cook at a very young age. By 8 years old, I was cooking. You know, I would cook meals for 12, 15 people. Easy. You know, but she'll make you cook, but then you won't have any of that. So you can smell the food, but you can't have any of that. Then you clean up after everyone, but you can't have any of that.
And how did that feel as that 7, 8-year-old child?
It's hard, you know, when you're that age and you can't do anything. And coming from a culture that I came from, where, you know, you have to respect the elders. You can't say anything, you know. So it was a hard thing to do. But then, as I started getting older, I think I started getting more stronger, just because of what I was going through. And I think I started teaching myself to say, you know what, don't ever be like that to someone when you get older. It's not a nice thing. Yeah.
So that was the mental process that you went through, that you held on to, and that's what kept you strong?
It kept me strong. Yeah, it kept me strong, and it kept me, I think, a better person. Because if someone came to our house to visit, when we had visitors, if they came to our house, I mean, even if, you know, that we don't have much food, I would cook for them. Because to me, it's like, well, you got to eat something. Yeah.
So it's like that cultural hospitality, which is in many cultures, where you give food to show welcome.
Welcome, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happened after that, with this abuse going on within your home, and then drawing inspiration from it for yourself, saying, I never want to be this person? At what point was there a relief for you? How did you get away? What did you do?
Oh, well, the relief didn't come until, you know, after a long period of time. Of course, after, when I was in year 7, then my dad started getting sick. By the time I was getting to year 8, year 9, year 8, then I had a period of time when I couldn't go to school. And the reason I couldn't go to school is, one, my dad was very sick. And then the second reason is my stepmom just didn't feel the need of me going back to school. Because at that time, she actually had my half-sister. So then it was a bonus for me to bring up my half-sister for a good year without being in school. It was, I suppose, cheap labor. Yeah. But then at that period of time, because my dad wasn't working, then we started, suffering a little bit, So then we would make, things to sell, that would bring in quick cash. So then, we would make, they call it as ice blocks. So then you get, Fanta, and then mix in with a little bit more sugar, and then water, and then you freeze that. So then you sell that, So to me, doing that, I was like, wow, I really can be a businesswoman one day. Yeah. And prior to my dad being sick, because he used to travel and bring things to come and resell, sometimes I used to go sell the stuff for him at school to my teachers. So in my head, I was already going, I'm going to be a businesswoman. But little did I know that, yes, I was picking up quite a lot of practice from that and a lot of strength from that. So by the time my dad passed away, he passed away in 1992. And I went to live with his sister. Bless her, she took me in, I wasn't in school. But I think the thing that scared her most is when we were living with them, I woke up one morning and I went and said, I've just been talking to this lady, and she works at this shop, and I've told her to go look for a job for me. And I was probably only about 12 or something like that. Yeah, so then I think my auntie, when her husband got a promotion to go to another town, I think she's really scared that she went, okay, you're moving with us. Yeah, so then she put me in school, but unfortunately, obviously, they couldn't manage to pay for me, when I was going to school, because I had to go into sort of like a more afternoon classes, so you pay a lot more. And then there came a period from year 9, when I went into year 9, they could not pay for me. So then from year 9 onwards up to my year 12, I had to pay for my own school fees. So I was an entrepreneur. I had to learn, okay, I had pocket money. What can I actually do with that little pocket money that I had? So then I'll buy flour, and then with something we call as fritters, we make fritters. I make the best fritters. I'll have to bring this someone. Yeah, so I would make fritters, and I'll actually take the fritters to school and sell to my friends. And then when I got a bit more money, then I'll go to the markets and buy secondhand clothes and wash them. And then during school holidays, I'll make sure that I'll go to offices and sell that to people in offices. Yeah, so then I put myself through school from year 9 to year 12.
See, that's phenomenal. And your story, it sounds like the classic Cinderella, where you were kept at home to do all the chores and take care of your father who was dying. And from it, like, you have such a strong sense of yourself and what you can do. And you learn from your father, well, this is what a business is. And you just ran with it. Which is very admirable and very courageous.
It is. I think it's one of those things when I think every girl wants their father in their life, and when you don't have that opportunity to have them in your life and be able to sit down with them and chat with them and get a lot of knowledge out of them and stuff like that, you learn to the minute you realize that you might probably not have that much time with them, or you don't have those opportunities, is whatever, whenever I had opportunities with my dad, because my stepmom made sure that you don't get to spend time with your dad. You don't talk to him unless I've given you permission. So, the few moments we had was like, okay, I've got this moment with him, and I'll ask him a question, and I will take in everything that he's telling me. Because the minute when he heard her voice, he's like, okay, stop talking to her. You can't. Yeah.
So those moments were very precious.
Very precious.
But very profound.
Yeah.
From his teachings of what you've got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and guests that come on the show often say out of situations like that, so in the situation with your stepmother and what was happening with your father, you found the gift with your father.
Yeah. What
were the gifts you believe that you gained from the experience with your stepmother?
Well, I think her being so mean gave me the spirit of be a giver, not a taker. Don't expect anything in return, So if you give wholeheartedly, and be that person that will make another person smile tomorrow or even today, and just do not expect too much out of people, because and make the effort of checking on someone and see, how you're doing. Are you all right? And just don't take life seriously. Just be happy all the time, because you just never know.
It's that connection, that to offer connection to others. How are you? And actually wait for the answer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because and it's something that I've used so much, even in the, I think in the growth of my business. It's like, well, if I get someone that has walked in my salon and they're quite upset, I'm like, I'm not going to judge you straight away. I don't know where you've come from, and I don't know what you've been through. Because, when you've experienced something like that when you're young, it's like you learn not to do that. Yeah. So I learned so much of just being nice. It doesn't cost you a thing.
And acceptance of another person, because as you say,
that's so true.
You don't know their circumstance, you don't know what just happened, you don't know their history.
That's so true. Yeah.
And I think you've got some amazingly inspiring books there.
Which,
I am sure that they will often say to you that by showing compassion and opening your hearts, it drops the judgment.
Absolutely.
And then you can meet them where they're at.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So then, moving along in your story, we come to what you did once you had put yourself through school. What happened then? So
I put myself through school. I finished year 12, and then I'm sitting. I'm like, okay, I'm not growing. I'm there. I'm just not growing. I'm not going anywhere. It's like, okay, if I need to get where I know I want to get, I have to move. So I tried South Africa. I went to South Africa for a good 1 year, and then it didn't work. It wasn't for me. And I think I am very good at seeing what's not working and change it quickly before I waste any more time. Yeah, so I went back and then continued working. I was working 7 days, almost 24 hours most of the time, saving up every bit that I could save up, and then and then one day I'm like, okay, I'm going to Australia. Yeah,
fantastic.
I'm going to Australia. And if you hear so many people, the time I came, 2001, many of the people from my country, Zambia, they'll go to England or the UK. That was an in thing. It's like England or UK. If you're going overseas, those are countries. I'm like, no, I'm not going anywhere there, because I could see so many people that would go to the US or UK, they'll throw their passport, they don't go and accomplish anything, and then it's like, okay, but they come back with an accent. I'm like, oh, but you haven't been doing anything. So I had to choose a country that I went, no, there's not many of us there, but I think that's where I have to be.
So what was the attraction? Do you know what it was that drew you to
Australia? I wanted to challenge myself. Yeah.
I think you did that.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I went to myself, this is the amount of money that I have. I will go to Australia, I'll go see how it is, give it a go, and then see what happens from there. But I wasn't going to give up. Yeah.
Did you have fears about coming over?
No, and that was the crazy thing is, people were going, you're going to Australia? I said, yeah. But no one goes to Australia. You know, the only thing we hear about Australia is the kangaroos. I don't know, there was Skippy the kangaroo. Not many people knew about Australia, but I was like, nah, I'm going to Australia, you know.
Very brave.
Yeah, very brave. And I think the bonus thing with my journey is I'm not a person that had so many friends. So then I didn't have so many people to listen to going, why are you going there? Why are you doing that? You know, it's like, okay, it's my choice and I'm going to do this, and thank God I don't have many people stopping me. Yeah.
That's a really valid point that you've made there, because we can be swayed by the opinions of others, which means we're not being true to ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it sounds like you absolutely were. Do you think that even if you had a big circle of friends, they would have been able to sway you?
I don't think so.
Because you're very strong.
I'm very strong in what I plan and what I want to do. Yeah. I listen to my inner voice before I can listen to anybody's opinion. It's like, I will listen. I'm very good at taking what people are saying and appreciate everyone's opinion. And I learn so much from everyone's opinion. But, you know, at the end of the day, I look at myself and I go, okay, what is actually going to really work for me? You know?
Because it's your life.
It's your life at the end of the day. Yeah.
So what sort of jobs were you doing as that teenager to gather the money to come to Australia?
Well, I was fortunate enough when I finished high school, then I found a job it was sort of like a, you know, telephone company, you know, sort of computers, and people would come and send emails and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I would work there, you know, during the day, and then when they expanded, then I would work during the evening as well. So then, you know, I would work from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, have a little bit of a break, and then I'll start again from about 6:30 to midnight. Close for them. Yeah.
Very determined.
Very determined. Yeah.
So what happened when Joan arrived in Australia?
So Joan arrives in Australia. Wow. The first thing, you know, coming from a tropical country, you're like, oh my God, where's all the green stuff? Where's the grass? Like, wow, this place is... But I'm like, oh my God, opportunity. You know, I could see it straight away. You know, and I think maybe because I came with a positive mind, then you can see it straight away. I'm like, if I don't make it here, then there's something seriously wrong with me. You know, and I won't have anyone to blame but myself. You know, so then I went, okay, what do I have? And then I started looking at schools. You know, the main thing is like, I want to be a fashion designer. You know, and I went, okay, fashion designer, looked at the fees, looked at the opportunities that were there, said, no, you'd be silly enough to start doing fashion and designing because it's not going to take you anywhere. So what can you do that will get you somewhere where you want to go, and how are you actually going to make it? So I started off, I enrolled at PIVT, which is part of ECU, in a business course. And I'm like, at some point, I'm going to have my own business. I need to understand the fundamentals of having a business. What actually helps you have a, you know, successful business, you know. So then I went and said, okay, this course has got management, it's got marketing in it, it's got this in it. I'm like, yes, winning.
You are so savvy at such a young age. I need this.
I need that. I was like, winning. But then the problem came in because I only had X amount of money to put myself in college. And being an international student, it's expensive, extremely expensive. So then I went and said, okay, we're going to start. I'm already here, I'm going to start, you know. So I went home. Obviously, I had to go back because I came on a visitor's visa, so that I had to go back and actually get the student visa. So then I came back, and then I'm like, okay, let's get started. Luckily, those days we were allowed to pay. You can pay first semester, and then you keep on paying your other semester. You know, it's not like the way it is now. Now I think they need you to pay for 3 semesters in a row, something like that, in advance. So when I started, I'm like, okay, I need a job. So I'm like, okay, swallow your pride. Doesn't matter what you had that side. This is new beginnings. You know, and if what you're gonna do can earn you money and get you somewhere, do it. You know. And I went and said, okay, I know how to clean. there's nothing wrong with cleaning, you know. And I know how to cook. Like, there's nothing wrong. If someone called me to say, can you cook for us? There's nothing wrong with that, you know. So then I actually started off doing cleaning people's houses. Yeah. So, you know, on my days off, when I don't have college, I would go and clean people's houses. You know, I didn't have a car, you know, I had to use public transport. So I had to make sure, you know, I'm on time, I finish this house, and I move on to another house. And I think I looked at that and I say, you know what, thank God my stepmom was so hard like that on me. You know, because her going, okay, you gotta wake up at 5 a.m. before you go to school. You make sure the house is spotless. You make sure everyone's breakfast is ready before you leave the house. I was able to go and clean those houses without feeling as if I've even done anything, you know. Yeah, and then
tremendous discipline.
Yeah. And passion and love, you know. It's like I just put that in everything that I do. And then later on I started working in nursing homes, and I would do that whenever I've got school holidays. I would even do more hours. Yeah, but then as I kept on going, I'm like, okay, I've done so many courses in my in what I'm studying. Do I continue or do I stop? And do I start something else? Yeah.
I imagine you would have brought great joy to whatever you did. I can just imagine the nursing home really helping people in their day, inspiring them, and just bringing a smile to their face.
I remember when I went to the nursing home, I'm like, I'm looking for a job. I want to be a carer. And they went to me and said, oh no, we don't have positions for carers at the moment. I'm like, okay, what do you have? So they went, we only have housekeeping. So I'm like, I'll take that. Said, somebody else would have said no, because, you know, you've gone and done your short course and you really want to just do, you know, be a carer. I'm like, well, but a job is a job. It's where I want to be and where I want to get myself. So I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it with all my heart. Yeah. So I started off, you know, in the nursing home. I started off just being in the kitchen, you know, making meals for the beautiful oldies, you know, bless them. Yeah, and
it's like you just took the next step. It may not have been exactly where you needed to go, but you just took the next step, which takes you to the next and the next. Yeah.
So you just keep on building. You keep on building up, you know, building until you get where you want to be. Yeah.
So what was next for you?
So next for me was, okay, I've done the nursing home, you know, I've worked on my papers. Well, I promised my husband that I wasn't going to talk about him. So just a little bit. I was married by then, and then I had permanent residency, obviously, through him. And then I went and said, do you know what? About time I started my business. So whatever I'd set up from the nursing home, I went and said, okay, I'm going to start my business. I'm like, okay, I don't need to go to college anymore. I don't need to go get a degree for me to be something and to be someone. You know, I said, okay, I've got my units that I wanted. I've got marketing, management, communication, you know, all those small little things that I need. I said, okay, stop. Yeah, I can keep on going and spend $1,000, but is it going to get me where I want to be? No, it won't. So I woke up one morning and I went, okay, here we go. Let's start.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. And I think it started off kind of like a joke. You know, prior to that, I'd gone to a salon to go have my hair done, and then all these hairdressers came and looked at my afro, and they had no idea what to do with my hair. And I was like, oh no, this is not good. This is not good. And 1 minute I'm thinking, do I have nits in my hair? What is wrong? You know, but then I came to realize that, no, hang on a second. I don't think they know what to do with your hair. You know, because this one is touching this side and this one's pulling that side. And inside I'm like, it hurts, you know. Afro hair hurts when you're pulling it like that. Don't just keep on going in like that. So I'm like, okay. I can't do fashion and designing, but I love making women feel happy. You know, I love seeing that smile on their face. I'm going to do hairdressing. So with the savings that I had, I went, okay, I'm gonna get started. So I actually started off from home. I was working from a little garage, and then I went into 1 bedroom, and then living room, and then after about 2-3 months, I'm like, no, I can't do this from home. So then I found myself a little spot, in Fremantle, 14 square meters, and there it started. Ebony and Ivory started. Yeah.
And Ebony and Ivory is the hairdressing company you've grown it to
today. Yeah, and 12 years later, where I am, and we're on Barrack Street, giving employment opportunities to people, and it's amazing, And during my time when I started hairdressing, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all, because we had the hairdressing board, and it was hard for you to start something like that without actually being a qualified hairstylist. And I was given a hard time. And I'm sure there's other hairdressers out there that will say that time when we had the hairdressing board, we were given a hard time. But it just made me stronger and made me push myself even more. Yeah.
And you found ways around.
Found ways around it, because when I started, I didn't have money to pay a hairstylist. I can't afford to pay a hairstylist. So how am I actually going to do it? So then it was a thing of, okay, I'm gonna bring in a hairstylist. I will make some money, through my, I was doing braiding and hair extensions then. I was like, okay, I'll make some money through doing that. And then whoever comes in for haircuts or for a color, I had a point actually where I couldn't even afford to bring in colors, to buy colors to be in the salon. So it was like, okay, I spoke to the hairdresser, like, can you buy whatever colors we need, and then we'll give you the money when I do some more braiding, that way. And then if a client comes in and said, okay, you take 50, 60, 70, 80%, I didn't care how much they took, as long as I had a hairstylist there, and then I got the hairdressing board off my back. Yeah.
And it's like your absolute sheer tenacity. You kept going. You knew there was a way around it, and you were using skills that you learned growing up. You know what it is to work with a certain kind of hair. And you were just using those talents. Yeah. Now, another thing that you do is empowering younger girls.
I do. Yeah. Wow.
You forgot about that.
I forgot about that. I think I just don't. I learned not to advertise it, because what I do comes from deep down, and if I can empower someone, I always go back to how we say in my language to say, if you educate one woman in the family, you educate the whole village. Yeah.
That's very powerful.
Yeah, and then also there's a saying of a child can never be brought just by one parent or two parents, mother and father. A child is actually brought up by the whole village. Yeah.
I have heard that saying, and I do believe it's very true.
Yeah. So then, then what I do is, I do work with a few Indigenous girls in Australia, which I love, absolutely love. Just that smile on their face is incredible, absolutely incredible. I'm about to start my new project, which, I'm not talking much about, but then we started off, when I went to be introduced, we started off with 16 girls signed up at the college on Manning Road. And now when the guys send the papers back, I'll have, I think it's about 63 girls that I'll be mentoring, And that's me, that's something I go like, I don't need to advertise that. What I need to see is the growth in them, and what contribution have I done to help them be something, or see them look at themselves in the mirror and say, you know what, I can do this. Yeah.
And you are an amazing role model, because you've done it.
I've done it.
You've done it.
Yeah, I've done it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So when they go to me, I can't do it, I said, yes, you can. Never say you can't do it. If you can't do it that way, there's another way you can do it. Yeah.
And you've definitely shown that throughout your story today. It's like there's a roadblock this way, there's always a way around it.
There's always
Which is absolutely amazing. And you don't have children yourself.
I don't,
And you made a decision?
I made a decision not to have kids, and I have no regrets. Because when I was growing up, seeing how I was growing up, I went to myself, I said, if I can't give a child 200%, then I'm not going to do it. And as I started getting older, I'm like, I'm going to be a career woman. I'm not going to be there for that child. And it'd be selfish of me to actually go, let me go have a child because society wants me to do that. If I'm going to have a child, it will have to be me, So when I decided not to do that, I went, there's so many kids in this world that need me and need my help. And if I can help one child have a better life than what I had when I was younger, I will do that. Then my journey started off. Whenever my Christmas comes, I travel around and go see some orphans around somewhere and have a good time with them and have a laugh and open presents and do a bit of a dance and
open their hearts and spread your gift. You have an amazingly strong gift to offer, and I think it's beautiful that you're sharing it and with empowering women that you've started.
Because I always go, I said, I look myself and then go, do you know what, we have so many I'll say angels around us, and we can hear them whisper things to us, and sometimes we tend to ignore that. We don't ignore. I don't ignore that. I always say I am here for a purpose, and then until that purpose is done, then that's when I'll stop.
Is that also the inner guidance?
Yes.
You're talking about. Now, I'm going to ask you about your inspiration, and you talked about the flash dance video. Now, this has been great inspiration for you. So,
among some of them.
So, what is it that you do every morning that you told me about?
Oh my God! Meditation is a big thing in that I do, my prayer and meditation and all that. But I go to people and say, you know what, you can do your meditation in any way you want. You don't have to do your meditation in the way people say it has to be done. I mean, maybe people that teach meditation will go to me to say, yeah, you're wrong. I'm like, no, I'm not. Because meditation comes from within, So if you I find my meditation sometimes in the morning, I'm not going to do my flash dance. Get up. You have to get up and go. Bring that energy in. Bring that positive vibe around you, And if you get up every morning and find a way of finding your own meditation, you'll be like, oh my God, this is so good. Yeah.
There's whatever works for you. Again, listening to the inner.
Yeah.
There's so many ways of doing it. The way there are so many fingerprints in the world, and the way that we look. There's many ways of getting to where we need to go.
Yeah. And lucky for me, coming from a country where we use a lot of dance and singing to just uplift yourself. So then I remember like, oh my God, when I was sad, when I was young, what actually uplifted me? It's like, oh my God, my friends are dancing over there. I'm going to join them, Or even I'll go sit in the tree, but then I'll watch them and I'm like, oh my God, we would dance like that. Yeah. So I use that. And I use, there's a lot of people that inspire me, I'm a big fan of opera, from the day I watched that woman on TV, when I used to be back home, I went, that woman, I can't be her, but one day I hope to inspire people the way she does it. Yeah, obviously she's got her own way of doing it, I will have my own way of doing it. Yeah.
And what do you look for inspiration? Who's your greatest inspiration?
Myself.
Yourself. Yeah. I just think that's awesome. I feel like it's like, wow.
It's the biggest thing, isn't it?
It is.
There's many times people go like, when you talk about inspiration, okay, who inspires you? well, before you think about any other person, I mean, I say Oprah is my inspiration. You know, I've been fortunate enough, luckily this year, I went and met my other idols, Kim Campbell. You know, when it comes to styling, Kim Campbell's Beyonce's hairstylist. You know, and I was fortunate to spend about 3 days of being inspired by that woman, working, you know, next to her, you know, and I go like, okay, all these women inspire me, and it's a bonus to have that, but then it is a big bonus to have yourself as your own inspiration, because you learn so much from yourself before you learn from somebody else.
And that's what you take forward with you as the gift.
Absolutely.
Because it's like solid.
Yeah.
You know it works.
You know it works.
What worked for you.
It works.
And even if someone takes 10% of that, it can spark their own inspiration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
No,
you truly are an amazing, inspiring.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
thank you.
Absolutely strong, determined, tenacious. I just keep going with the words.
And then we can do the flash dance again. Yeah, no, thank you. This has been so humbling. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. And I hope my story can inspire someone out there that's giving up or don't know what to do, where to start from. You know, there's always a way.
Yeah, one of the things that I really, really love is showing people, like our viewers who are watching this, that no matter what happens growing up, if we focus on the positive, find the gift, because it can be so easy to dwell in the pain.
Absolutely.
And that's when we get stuck in our fear and get stuck back here, and we're unable to move forward.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that the shortest way of saying is learn to turn every negative into a positive. Yeah.
Very wise words.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching today. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel below, or you can go to our website for more information, www.1000women1000ways. We've really enjoyed having you here today, and if you've got any comments, then go to our chat room, which is on our website, and let us know. We'll see you there.